So I decided to make yet another Wyvern deck tech video. If you played the game, you know the game, you probably already know the type of deck that this is. I recommend you don't play this deck with someone that you really like and don't want to aggravate. If you don't want them to become annoyed. If it's someone that you don't particularly care for, or you guys enjoy messing with each other and you want to play a deck that's going to aggravate them, then here's the deck for you. I probably wouldn't put this in the top half of my decks, but it can win pretty well, and it can be quite effective. I don't know where I'd rank it, but maybe somewhere in the middle. I'm not really sure. Probably in the bottom half. But this dragon is just great. I love the art here. Ladley Worm, just a little 1-strength dragon, so very weak. Costs 2 gold. So you know that's really not a good rate for a 1-strength dragon. But when Ladley Worm loses a battle, the winning player must discard 1 card at random from their hand. That is just a great ability. And if you can keep Ladley Worm alive through Golden Apples and Fountains of Youth, you can really drive them crazy. And this is just one. There's a couple other dragons that have abilities like this. Now this deck, because the theme is making my opponent run out of cards, I'm not running any Meteor Showers. I can't run any Meteor Showers. I don't want them playing Meteor Shower, and I'm certainly not going to. So I have to put in other forms of card draw so that I don't run out of cards too, because I'm also playing Earthquake in this deck, which is not a good card, and I don't think it's well designed. But we'll get to that in a little bit. So I think there are 22 cards in the Dragon Lair and 52 currently in the Treasure Hoard. So let's just go through this. So we have Ladley Worm. Then I just added Shan, another little 1-strength dragon for 2 that has flying. But this one, if they lose a battle, I get to draw a card. And that's why I added it, because one more way to draw cards is important. Then we have Green Dragon, who, if he loses a battle, the winning dragon loses any special abilities for the rest of the game. And that's just there to further frustrate your opponent. No discarding involved, but it's effective. Then we have another card draw. If Bumblebee, I call him Bumblebee. If he loses a battle, you draw a card. So we're going to have some of that stuff. Okay. Then we have the inverted, whatever. The opposite of Ladley Worm. When Bride Serpent wins a battle, loser must discard a card from their hand at random. So this is kind of an outlier in the deck, because the deck is mostly based on losing battles, but not entirely. And it's nice to have one that the only reason it's in here is because it can force them to discard cards at random. It is harder to win a battle, obviously. Then we have the obvious scout in this deck, Kyo Lung. When he loses a battle, draw 1 card. So going to keep doing that. And then the opposite, not the opposite, kind of a difference. When Delphine hits a terrain, you draw a card. So card draw, card discard. Mogre, because well, there's no reason not to play Mogre in any deck you make. It's one of the best scouts in the game. If he hits a terrain, he can then attack a second card, 1 card away from the first card. Now, I say he can't attack anything in the back row. He has to attack something in the front row. That's just what I think, because he doesn't fly. And if he takes out the front row, then everything automatically comes up, so he can hit anyway. So I don't think he should be allowed to hit the back row. Then if I'm going to go with 4 scouts, I could just go with 3, but this one also is if he loses a battle, but it's not as big of a deal. Put a -1 strength counter on any face-up dragon. So it's just another way to hurt their dragon, which is also annoying. And since we are playing Fountains of Youth and Golden Apples, we're also going to play 4 knights. If you're going to play Draco, you should play those 12 cards pretty much automatically. Once Draco attacks, he must continue to attack during that same turn until he dies or discovers a terrain. So he hits the dragon, you fight, you're going to lose, you save him, or you cancel the battle. You save him with Golden Apple or Fountain of Youth, or you cancel the battle with Knight. He then keeps attacking. And he can attack anything he wants. He doesn't have to attack the same dragon, but he could. You could make your opponent play a card, and then they take the lead, and then you attack them again. Now they don't have anything to play. So Draco is one of the best dragons in the game, and when you have cards like that, he's an automatic. Lambton Worm is in here. I've said this before. I think Lambton Worm, it should say you can pay 3 gold to remove him from your from your dragon lair. I think it should say 3. I think that would make this a much fairer card. This is an unfair card. I will not play this if my opponent is not playing one, or if we agree that we're not playing Lambton Worms. I only play, and I'd play it in a serious tournament. You'd be nuts not to. All right, then terrains, we're going to just go with killer terrains, because why not? Especially in my rule where the terrain is swapped out if it doesn't apply to the dragon. It's not destroyed if it doesn't apply. It's swapped out. That's my rule. If I wasn't playing that rule, I wouldn't play killer terrains because it's too risky. So 3 or less, it kills the dragon. 1 frozen lake could go with 2. Kills dragons of 4 or more strength. So 3 or less, 4 or more. Then we have 2 terrains that kill, 1 that kills any flyer, and the 1 that steals the flyer. You got to have that one in there. And I had 1 Abbey. I decided to go with 2. So now we're doing the opposite of what we're doing. We're surviving. We're not dying. So if their dragon hits this, they cannot survive, no matter what they play. It's just I could take that one out. The rest of the deck is what I put in most of my decks. We have Mixed Quaddle and 3 Fields of Gold. This is how you generate gold with the card Gold Dig, which I'll show you in a second, but you can see 4 gold on these things. It does buff the dragon. Their dragon gets a +1, but you get 4 gold. But you're really going to swap it out. Mixed Quaddle, you swap out and use Gold Dig for 6 gold. He's just a 0 strength flying dragon, but his attack strength is ridiculous, and he is extremely powerful and very hard to defeat in battle, and that's the other reason you use him. And then Basilisk, who destroys whatever dragon he's in battle with. They die. They both die. No one can play battle actions. There is no winner or loser. That is an updated text in the Kingdom edition. That last line is not on Basilisk, but that is how it works. You cannot save the dragon with golden apples or fountains of youth, and you can't cancel it with Knight. But he is absolutely he goes in every deck I play. So then this also goes in every deck I play, unless we're not playing magnetic fields, and we decide that when we play. This counters any of the purple cards in here. Every card in your deck, in your treasure hoard deck, is either purple or gold. It's either some form of action or a treasure. This counters any of those cards for 2 gold. It used to be 1 gold. It was so powerful they had to change it to 2. Gold Dig says you gain X gold pieces. X equals the number of gold. Let me bring that up. X equals the number of gold symbols on the top card in your Dragon Lair discard pile. So if Mixed Quaddle or Field of Gold is the top card in your discard pile, you play this in the action phase, any player's action phase, it doesn't matter, and you get the gold. So 4 of those. I'm also going to run 2 Sorcerer, which duplicates any action or reaction or battle action. I don't know why they broke that into 2 sentences. That's it. It duplicates the spell effect. So if my opponent plays Magnetic Field, I can copy the Magnetic Field and Magnetic Field their Magnetic Field. If they play Power Switch, I can copy the Power Switch and flip the numbers back. It just replicates the spell. It's a very good spell. Not as good as Magnetic Field, but it is very good. And 1 copy of Kiss of Succube, because it's ridiculously powerful, so much so that they limited this to 1 card per deck. And again, I will not play this if my opponent is not playing it, unless they want me to, as a challenge or something. All right, the rest of the deck, we have 4 Strangleholds. 1 gold. Player of your choice must discard 2 cards from their hand. This is a very good card, always to play if you want. You can't go wrong with this card. Sometimes it's not going to do a lot. I mean, if your opponent has 7 cards in hand, this is not a big deal, but it can be. This is not a good card, but I'm playing it because it says all players must discard one card from their hands. The problem with that is I've played this card, and now I have to discard a card. So I have to discard 2. I've effectively lost 2 cards, and my opponent has only lost 1. But I need it because I need my opponent. I want my opponent to have 0 cards in hand. So I'm going to do this, even though it could hurt me. And then we have a card that sometimes will not work. Sometimes I won't want to play it because I'm going to have face-up dragons more than my opponent. But if my opponent has 2 or more, I will absolutely play this. Each player selects and discards 1 card from their hand for each face-up dragon in their battlefield. If I have 1 face-up and they have 2, I'd probably play it. If we both have 2, I don't know. If I have more, I don't think I'm going to play it because why would I? If they only have 1, is it worth it? Maybe. I mean, it's still better than Earthquake. At least I make them discard 1 card. So I might. Depends how many cards are in their hand, and how much gold I have. So 4 copies, though, of Stolen Equipment. All right, more discard effects. Action, pan. Opponent must show you their hand and lose 1 gold for each Dragon Slayer action card in their hand that he doesn't discard. So cool card. Could only play 2 of these because Dragon Slayers are not necessarily going to be in their hand. So I could lower it to 2, but right now it's 3. And then as a battle action, we play Prometheus on them. They must show their hand and lose 1 gold piece for every battle action card in their hand that they don't discard. Now that is a much more common thing that they will have battle action cards. Both are good cards though, so I'm running 3 copies of Pan and 3 copies of Prometheus. This can end up in a ton of discarding, which is hopefully what I want to achieve, and hopefully will achieve, which is that my opponent has no cards in hand. Especially if I can hit him with Banshee. The winner of this battle loses 1 gold and gets no draw phase next turn. So just 2 copies of Banshee. I could up that. I could take him out. Total lots of leeway here. Another excellent way of winning battles if you aren't good at fighting, and my deck does not have any ways really of fighting at all other than the strength of the dragon. I might up this to 4. I'm currently running 2. So for 1 gold, Marduk, or I've always said Marduk, but I might be Marduk. I really don't know. In the action phase, you say no battle action cards can be played this turn. You should only play this if you have a dragon that is equal or higher strength than your opponent. You attack. They can't play any actions. They're going to lose the battle, which is what you want. This is how you hopefully ultimately win the game. So I might go to 4. I do have 1 copy of Volcanic Eruption. This also used to be 1 gold, and it was also limited to 1 card per deck. And it can bring back any card from your Treasure Hoard discard pile. This in combination with Stranglehold was proven to be much too powerful, and that's one of the reasons they limit it to 1 card, as well as increase the gold cost. All right, so to keep my guys alive who keep losing battles, don't die, we're going to run 4 golden apples. They survive the battle. They do lose, but they survive the battle. And then we're going to run 4 knights so we can just get out of the battle, which is not as good because if they lose, they get the effect. Well, this is just a way to keep my guys going. And another win con, I guess is the right word. 2 Jasons that can slay any dragon. I have to have different ways to try to win because I'm not good at fighting. I'm not good in battle. This is a discard effect. It is really works if you can see your opponent's hand. So if I can play a Prometheus or a Pan, now this card could be effective. During each of your draw phases, you may pay 1 gold piece and call out a card. Opponent must discard any of the card you called out if he has it. I'm assuming he'd only have to discard 1. He can discard any of the card. Seems like he'd only have to discard, like if he had 2 copies of the card I called out, I assume it's just he'd only have to discard 1. But anyway, Tablets of Destiny, it's a great looking card, and it's kind of interesting. 4 Fountains of Youth, discard it. I survive a lost battle. Just keeps them alive. So those are all kind of necessary. There is 4 there. So I want more card draw. Secret Treasure. Action. Draw one card from your treasure hoard draw pile for each gold piece you pay. Potentially an amazing card, but boy, will you run out of gold fast. That's why I have to have the gold generation in here with Mixquaddle and Fields of Gold. And then, of course, these 2 copies of this very expensive treasure, Nectar. Draw 1 extra card during your, each of your draw phases. So with Earthquake, I need these because I'm discarding. With the fact that I'm not in a very good, I'm very weak in battle. I have no battle actions that do anything to help me win. My most powerful card for a battle is Marduk, simply because it stops my opponent from playing battle actions. Now, hopefully my opponent doesn't have any cards in hand, so they can't play any battle actions anyway, and I won't even have to play Marduk, but I might up that to 3 or 4 copies. So that is my constructed discard deck for the Wyvern game. It's annoying to play against. I really don't recommend this unless your opponent knows you're going to do it and is fine with it. It's like, yeah, go ahead, try to make me run out of cards. I want to see if you can do it. Then it's a lot of fun because it is a challenge to keep your opponent with no cards in their hand. Because if you can do that, you're in a position of strength no matter what, because ties go to the attacker. So you only need to have a dragon of equal or of equal strength, and you will win the battle if they have nothing. And that's, so there's enough ways to win, despite the fact that I have no strength modifiers, no power switch, no poison chalice, no Medea's spell, none of the Thor's hammer is another one. None of the cards that really help you win battles. So Bride Serpent doesn't quite fit the deck, but Bride Serpent has to be here because of the random discard effect for when I do win battles. And I will win battles. It's not like I will never win battles. So it does fit the theme, regardless of what I just said. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this deck. If you would like to see any kind of Wyvern deck, anything, starter decks, constructed decks, a flyers deck, any kind of thing you'd like to see. Would you like to see more of the videos where I show us playing Wyvern? I know it's not the best. I really need to get a tripod so that I can kind of get this kind of an effect and maybe go like this and get it up high enough. If I can do that, I think the games would be better to watch. I saw somebody who did that. They're playing some card game, and he said he just has a tripod. I'm like, yeah, I guess I just have this little stand. It's like a foot tall. That's what this is right here that's holding my phone that I'm moving around right now. Yeah, it's better than nothing. So hope you enjoyed the deck, and I'll be back again at some point with another one. Talk to you all later. Bye-bye.